mexicana alrededor del mundo.
Hasta hoy será la lucha más importante de mi carrera, porque sé que estoy enfrentando a una verdadera leyenda y a un gran maestro como lo es el Villano IV.
Villano IV es el hijo menor de Ray Mendoza, el último de 5 hermanos luchadores que conforman la Dinastía Imperial.
Yo creo el más importante de toda mi vida.
Sí, perdí 2 grandes luchas.
Patada de la Filomena, ahora sí.
Digo, no hay pretexto, ¿no? Me ganaron y me ganaron bien.
¡Otro piñazo más! ¿Cómo lo envía?
Pero gané una magnífica oportunidad que es enfrentar al señor Villano IV.
Y va a ser el triunfo más importante en la carrera de Villano IV, portar esa máscara de Penta 0M en mi mano.
¡Suelfera! ¡A Triplemania! ¡Los hombres que estamos en pleno camino para Triplemania 30!
Ahora, su objetivo es mantener el invicto en luchas de apuesta y preservar la única incógnita de los villanos que aún queda vigente.
No me importa lo que tenga que dejar arriba de este cuadrilátero, pero yo voy a salir con la victoria el 15 de octubre, aquí en Triplemania 30.
Pentagón Jr. busca seguir inspirando y demostrar que tiene cero miedo.
Here comes the man that's been the star here the past 2 Triplemanias, Joe. Talk about turning back the clock. He's had great matchup after great matchup. Unfortunately, coming up short.
Well, Villano 4 in his matchups with LA Park, with Psycho Clown, pushed himself and his opponent to their absolute limit. They were violent, they were bloody. And Villano 4, however, he hasn't made it to this point for lack of effort. And keep in mind, for those of you new to Triplemania, the Ruleta de la Muerte tournament was an 8-man single elimination tournament, but the winners removed themselves from the tournament. The winners got to leave, and the losers of the tournament in each round had to move on because the finals is mask versus mask, Ruleta de la Muerte. But you talk about Villano 4, a 43-year pro, the youngest son of Ray Mendoza, that legendary Mendoza family, Villano's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, Villano 3 Jr. now is doing his thing. And that family is so respected, so revered, and so celebrated. Tonight could be the end of an era for the Villano 4 chapter.
Absolutely. The Mendoza family is legendary here in Mexico. Villano's had a very, very tough road. Bloodbath after bloodbath in his Ruleta de Muerte. You see him walking around a little gingerly, and then somehow when that bell rings, he turns back the clock almost 43 years.
Listen, nobody came out of those first 2 rounds of Ruleta de la Muerte 100%. Even with this time to rest since the second round in the month of June. But Villano's history, UWA Tag and Trios Championship multiple times. It's his 6th Triplemania. He's undefeated in Triplemania when he teams with one of his family members, Villano 3 or 5. But of course, going at it alone here tonight, officially one-on-one.
Officially one-on-one, but that whole crowd's going to be behind him. One way or another, it's going to be a history-making, legendary, emotional night here in Mexico City. As here comes
Villanos
his
have
opponent.
Villanos have history in Lucha de Apuestas and success when 3, 4, and 5 defeated Los Brazos back in 1988. Villano 3 lost his mask in 2000 versus Atlantis. Villano 5 to Ultimo Guerrero in 2009, is that an omen of what's to come? 1, 2, and 4 have not lost their mask in their careers.
The pressure, the emotions that must be going through their minds right now as this is going on.
And remember, Larry, the star-studded field this was. Not just Villano 4 and Pentagon, but Blue Demon Jr., Ultimo Dragon, El Canek, L.A. Park, Rayo de Jalisco Jr., and Psycho Clown. 8 masks that transcend generations, transcend just an ordinary mask. It's an identity. It's a being. It's a persona. It's a hero throughout Lucha Libre lore that all of these men have grown to become. They've all had to fight to protect what they built their entire careers and lives to maintain. And tonight, for one man, that battle comes up short. And we'll have to witness it live. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be compelling. But for one of these luchadors, Larry, it will be the ultimate heartbreak.
I know about losing it all. I know about what that feels like. Feel it in the air right now.
Este es el momento de la noche. Control Mafia está en la casa. Lucha Drogas está en la casa. Hagan ruido para
It's
Penta.
a wave of history taking place.
Let's go!
It has taken Cero Miedo, Zero Fear, to risk all of this pageantry and your career. Larry, I would suggest that no one in Lucha Libre has become more of a cross-platform, mainstream, world-renowned superstar since Rey Mysterio Jr. than Pentagon Jr., even to the point where George Kittle, two-time Pro Bowler and tight end of the San Francisco 49ers, had adopted the Cero Miedo hand gesture on the field during NFL games. If you never watched Lucha Libre in your life, if you only watch American wrestling, if you only watch the national promotions, the globally televised promotions, no matter what, you know Penta, you know Cero Miedo, and you know what this man is capable of.
The man that went out there, made himself a star on Lucha Underground in America. Him and his brother kind of took over America with their feud with the Young Bucks, spanning promotions. Now he's main eventing the final night of Triplemania, the 30th anniversary of this great event, of this great company. The pressure. Going out there fighting not just for your legacy, but to take someone else's, and they're starting right in the rampway.
Well, not wasting any time, I was going to talk about how Penta is 2-0 in Lucha de Apuestas, including a match at Triplemania 26, where Penta wound up escaping with his identity intact, which saw Hijo de Fantasma, now known as Santos Escobar, have to unmask. He also beat Sami Callihan, mask versus hair, for Impact Wrestling, Slammiversary 2018. Penta, a former world champion there as well, in addition to a dozen major tag titles.
Villano going with his old playbook here. We've seen him kind of start this way this entire tournament, mocking Pentagon early.
Yeah. Well, here's what it comes down to, Larry. How far will a man go to protect his legacy and his livelihood? This is not just Villano 4's career, it's the Mendoza family. Decades and decades of history. If Villano 4 loses tonight, all of the things he's done in his decorated career, from AAA, UWA, WCW, you name it, in his mind there'll be that asterisk at the end because he couldn't leave with his mask intact. And already we see compromising of the mask of Penta as Villano is getting inside the head of Penta early on, a major mind game.
In sports, you see it all the time. John Elway left the champion. Peyton Manning left the field the champion. Michael Jordan had a chance to and came back and switched numbers. Went from the 2-3 to the 4-5. Went to the Washington Wizards. You know, you could spoil your legacy sticking around too much. Villano has all that on the line right now. Is he going to go out a champ? He's going to go out on top, main eventing a Triplemania 43 years after his career started? Or is he going to lose that mask tonight? There's a lot of pressure on these guys, a lot of pressure. For Pentagon, the money, the marketing, the brand that he became. And for Villano, it's family and legacies. You see his brother looking on.
Yeah, we have Arez in the corner of Penta. Villano's entourage, including Villano 5, Villano 3 Jr. But you talk about, Larry, it's such a hot topic issue in wrestling in recent years about trademark and intellectual property and copyright law. Imagine building that brand and being told you have to start over. That's what Pentagon is facing. Let's face it, he's not going to be the same man without the mask. Mentally, he won't. Presentation-wise, he won't. Marketability-wise, he won't. And that all means the most important thing, Larry, that affects your dollars. That affects your bottom line. And it certainly affects the pride and respect that you may have amongst your peers and your fans. Villano opening up with this hardcore, violent offense, and Penta can do that. We know Penta has a side that can be, let's say, a bit oscuro. But right now, Villano's not giving him a chance to get out of the blocks.
And for Villano 4, he sees his brother out there, Villano 5, Villano 4 out there, without that mask on as a reminder of what happens if you lose this matchup. I wonder how that's going to play into him mentally, to know that, to look over there and know, to know what the consequences are, to see it.
Yeah. And like we talked about earlier with Phoenix fighting for his spot and not being in his prime yet, you can say the same about Penta. I mean, he's got so many great years ahead of him. And maybe Villano 4 has more yesterdays than tomorrows in his career. But even still, this is a name and a legacy that will live on forever, much as we talk about the Lucha Libre heroes that maybe our grandparents watched. So, too, the Mendoza family wants to be thought of and revered that way for all time.
Marty Elias, our referee, got a major, major job on his hands right here.
Larry, there's no better man I would want calling this than Marty Elias, because he'll make sure we have a definitive winner.
Obviously no disqualification, no count out in this matchup. These two warriors are going to be able to go out there and fight for their legacies tonight in Mexico City.
Yeah, this is the most important match stipulation in all of Lucha Libre. And to those that don't understand and think, oh, it's a mask, it's just a piece of cloth. It doesn't matter. But it's your dignity and your identity. And in many ways, it's your family bloodline. And speaking of bloodlines, many of the droplets of blood of Penta on that trash can a moment ago, and also on the back of the mask.
Pentagon bleeding already as Villano's just pulling on, ripping his
he's trying to expose,
here.
Larry, he's trying to expose more flesh. You expose the head to lacerate it and to rent space in the head of Penta. You expose the chest probably to strike, probably to try to break a blood vessel. Or maybe it's symbolic, Larry, as Villano is trying to rip the Pentagon identity away from this athlete already.
Villano playing like a man that knows what it's all about, what's at stake here. He's been in these type of matches before. 43 years he built up the legacy of that mask. You know, you got to think, you're Villano. You're one of the original luchadors that went over in the 90s when Lucha Libre got popular on a national level.
And with the memory of 4 older brothers who had storied careers in their own right, and of course your father, whose name is like royalty in Lucha Libre, that is a lot of weight on your shoulders. I don't care who you are.
Absolutely a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Oh, man, Pentagon's a mess.
What's he got here? He's got a board, a door.
Yeah, that looks like a wooden plank, maybe a backup plank for the staging or for a guardrail signage or something like that.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. He's putting himself in a
Penta
bad
knows
position
he's got a
here.
strike. Penta explodes big. A precarious position for Pentagon. He's got to come up big.
Pentagon got the bad end of that backdrop right through that board.
Yeah, Pentagon went high risk. He went to take a chance, and it's ugly for some of these fans. It may not be a pretty sight, but it's what you've got to do to survive in this environment. Larry, I'm not sure I would have bet going into this tournament that Pentagon would have a disadvantage in a match this wild based on what we've seen him do in AEW, and Lucha Underground, all over the world. But Villano 4 showing how cagey and crafty of a veteran he is. It's almost like he laid the trap for Pentagon and let Pentagon walk himself into it.
Well, he just had to sit back there tonight. He had to watch his brother lose a hard-fought match against Vikingo. He has to come out here immediately afterwards and have this matchup with this much on the line here, this much at stake. It's a lot to ask for any human being. I don't care how great you are, how mentally tough you are. Enziguri's right to the back of the head there, Joe.
Yeah, Pentagon found an opening. Villano 4 had his back turned, and Pentagon quickens the pace. An up-tempo helps the younger Pentagon find a way. But the staying power of Villano 4 is second to none.
He took out Villano 5 with that, too.
Pentagon wipes out everybody in his wake. You will be an innocent victim if you find yourself in the line of fire. Arda is there willing on Pentagon. Villano 5 taken out. Villano 4 not doing much better. Could that be symbolic of the last stand of this family if Penta has his way?
This matchup is certainly starting bananas here. Oh, he's going for Villano's mask now. What's good for the Penta is good for the Villano.
It's the same mind game. It's the same way to rent space, and it's the same way to say, I'm coming for the rest in short order.
Biting away at the head there. Oh, he's got him busted open, too.
I love how mesmerized many of these young fans are, looking on in awe. Maybe they've never seen anything like this. Maybe never in person. Maybe they didn't realize how multifaceted Lucha Libre is, and we've seen a little bit of everything tonight, Larry. We've seen the unpredictability. We've seen the aerial risks. We've seen the brawls. We've seen the violence. We've seen every style represented, and most of all, we have seen heart and passion that has driven Lucha Libre on, and especially AAA, through the past 30 years. And I can't think of a better way to cap off the third Triplemania of the 30th year, the 30th installment, to end in not just the Phoenix matchup with Vikingo, but also this, a completely 180-degree turn from what we just saw, but just as pivotal to what AAA and Lucha Libre is.
You know, for a guy, you know, if you're a young kid, man, it's your first time maybe seeing Villano this year in these matchups in this tournament. He's been the MVP of this tournament, put on performance after performance. Oh, man, that mask is...
Oh, man, yeah. And I noticed when the mask was torn, a lot of scar tissue on the forehead of Villano 4 that shows you, every scar is a story of a battle fought in years gone by. But Penta, rapid fire, sent the forehead into that steel ring post, that edges of the ring post as well. There's so many ways that ring post could do damage to you, especially with Penta at the helm.
I got to spend time with him in Tijuana, Joe. We were at the airport, and then we were at, backstage at that show. And Villano 4 is just such a great man, such an absolute legend when you get to deal with him.
His name carries so much respect and reverence. And it's truly like a mythical legend walking amongst us.
As Pentagon is shirt off now.
Yeah, he's trying to navigate. He's not comfortable the way his clothes have been ripped and contorted. He's lost that top. Pentagon's in the best shape of his life, by the way, but that's not the story right now. The story is how much blood is he losing.
Arguing with Villano's brother. Marty Elias getting involved here.
And again, there is no disqualification.
I'm going to buy stock in cookie sheets after tonight.
The impact tells the story. A brain-rattling strike to the skull from Pentagon Jr. It's not the first time Villano 4 has felt it. It may not be the last, but it could be the last time he feels it as a masked wrestler. Villano 4, keep in mind, 12-0 lifetime Lucha de Apuestas. He's never lost in this environment. Penta, never lost in this environment, 2-0. Something's got to give.
Somebody's always got to go, baby. Wow, what a kick there by Villano. Oh, spoke too soon on that one.
This slugfest. These men have had so much taken out of them, but you can still feel every shot. The physicality bleeds through the feed across the world on Fight TV.
These two battling away, punching away at each other. Villano got the best of that. Maybe not.
If Dusty Rhodes were here, he might call that clubbering. Just four fistuses going wild. But that shows you what
Maricela.
Yeah, Maricela Pena. So instrumental in AAA's history and certainly its future as well. We honored Antonio Pena earlier on tonight. Maricela's brother. We honored Joaquin Roldan at the start of the night. Maricela's husband, and certainly the son Dorian watching on with pride as well, carrying the ship today as he watches this spectacle with the ultimate in high-stakes lucha libre.
See a packed crowd here. Everyone showed up for this match tonight. Super no vacancy in Mexico City.
And when we get this deep in the match, Larry, and you've lost a lot of blood, you're prone to making mistakes. But this is not a night where you can stumble or make one error and think, I'll get him next time. I'll come back and get my win back. If you make one single mistake tonight, you're done for, as we know you.
Here we go. It's turned into like a kickboxing fight.
Yeah, the energy of this crowd wills on these fighters. It's Villano aiming high. Penta tried to knot up the thigh muscle at first, but switches. And the super kick caught flush. Is that enough? Man! A half a count away at most. And again, you would not expect somebody who has had the miles on his body as Villano 4 to withstand this type of punishment. But here we are.
Got that table set up in the corner. They got to pull that mask back to pound away at the exposed flesh, that cut open scar tissue.
Yeah, trying to open up the cut further. Do some damage. Maybe you pass out a blood loss, you can get an easy cover. Well, nothing easy about this matchup. I shouldn't say that word. A crash landing with a Death Valley driver, crumpled bodies, and broken wood.
Somehow Villano 4 kicking out. Maybe the whole family there supporting him. You know, that he's feeling the energy.
Yeah, it was not enough as we see many of the fans, old and young, all ages, all generations. Some grew up watching a Penta. Some grew up watching the Villanos. Some have only heard the stories from their fathers or grandparents about the great Mendoza family. But they are all transfixed on history, live in front of you. And we're so glad you're part of history with us, too, on Fight TV.
Penta there with the Inseguri.
Well, Penta's been doing a great job of catching Villano high when Villano doesn't expect it. And now Penta.
Double stomp right to the chest.
He got all of it, but he couldn't
Barely
get
kicked
the
out.
elusive 3 count.
Goes for it again.
Well,
Small
Larry, one thing
package, Joe.
Isn't it? My God, he gets closer and closer. And Larry, we don't talk about enough how much energy you expert kicking out, especially of a tight cradle like that. It may seem foolish to a layman to go cover after cover and have it not work. Both men's shoulders were down, I think, a moment ago. That shows you the way this could expire you, just energy-wise.
Think about kicking out like a bench press, right? Doesn't matter how much weight you're putting up, you're going to get a little bit weaker every time you have to use that energy, especially rapidly, especially in a set in a row.
Yeah, Penta signaled Cero Miedo, but Villano 4 has other ideas. Looking submission, looking cradle.
An octopus hold in honor, maybe shades of Antonio Inoki, may rest in peace.
Well, Villano 4 has it cinched in tight. You see the toe behind the heel of Penta. You see the grip strength, the arms clasp of Villano. But, man, can you picture Penta submitting? Can you picture Penta giving up everything he's built?
Both close on both counts there for both competitors. Here you go over the loudspeaker.
Well, you hear Hugo, you hear the sheer energy and electricity from these fans. I mean, that shows you that there's nothing quite like Lucha Libre, especially live and in person, but certainly on Fight TV as well, because the energy that you feel, the passion, the connection these fans have with these athletes, it's unparalleled in any other medium I can think of.
And they're shaking hands and they're going to start smacking each other again. I like that. Little mid-round show of respect.
Well, again, it's tough to not respect either of these men with what they put one another through.
Almost a double count there.
Yeah, what are these men, what do they have left? And what will they have to do to the other to get finality? You can't underestimate either of these men. Penta has built an empire. Villano 4, one of the most experienced and shrewd competitors that you can find anywhere.
Well, they both have about 9 pints of blood left, I'd assume.
And you couldn't tell that based on the impact of these shots.
Snapmare by Pentagon.
Saw Penta send that message a moment ago. Cero Miedo, could that mean he's about ready to attempt to finish this match?
Goes for the coverage off the leg drop. 1.
Is that enough?
Kicks out. Didn't hook that leg. Didn't really get any pressure and any leverage with the lateral press.
Man. Yeah, but again, it takes so much energy to get a press, to cinch in, to shift your weight, to move the hips.
Absolutely.
And these men, the longer this match goes, Larry, the more lightheaded they're going to get, because I don't think their bodies are pumping enough blood to make up nearly enough for what they've lost.
You're going to start cramping up. You're going to get dehydrated. You know, the blood's not going to flow to your muscles. Pentagon wants a fight. Villano's more than happy to do it.
And Pentagon, I don't know if anybody would ever dare Villano to start a slugfest, but he did, and he's trying to meet him shot for shot. Oh, you can sense it, Penta doom!
I think he's tapping out. No.
Is he tapping out?
I thought he tapped out a little bit there, Joe. Pentagon thinks he tapped out. I thought he did too, Joe.
Well, I don't think Marty Elias saw that. Marty Elias was behind the hold. If Villano tapped, it was at the blind side of the official, and Penta, I guess Penta felt it. But Marty Elias, oh, what a heartbreak this could be. Penta threw that wooden plank. Penta could lose on a technicality and lose his identity.
That's why you don't let go of the hold until the ref tells you to.
Well,
yeah, Penta. Veteran instinct.
Penta still kicks out. Penta won't let that be his downfall. But again, heat of the moment, Larry. I don't know if Penta could have stabilized the body of Villano much longer with the blood loss. He was happy that it was over. And the look of the faces of Villano 5 and Arnes and these fans tell the story. It is a gruesome sight. But it's what needs to happen to crown a winner. Will Pentagon break the arm?
That could be it. That's how he became a star.
Well, Pentagon's digging in the playbook. He's bringing you the hits. That made Pentagon a very dangerous and feared man. Could a second time do the charm? My God! What kind of pain threshold does Villano have?
Apparently when it comes to that mask, he has a very high one.
My God,
both
what a fight.
Out.
Well, it's not going to end in a draw. There's no disqualification. There's going to be no count out here unless something especially dire happens. These fans want to see a winner. These fans want to see an outcome. And Villano 4 trapping Penta. Looks like he's got a knee bar on him. That leg is in a very awkward position.
Almost at the ropes.
Yeah. Punching himself to try to psych him up. Oh, that may have
the
been
other leg wrapped up now.
That may have been Penta's last hope.
Oh, he's tapping! Penta tapped!
Penta tapped. Well, Penta's tapping. He tapped the body of Villano. He didn't tap in the referee's eye line. Was
Penta
that a
tapped right on his stomach.
But wait a minute, Larry. Was that a tap to submit? Or was that some gamesmanship? Because Villano had already tapped and the referee missed the call. There's a roll-up. And Penta, I don't know if Penta was conceding or if he was outsmarting Villano. Larry, what do you think?
Fans are upset as I am.
Well, Larry, we have some very ardent Villano fans and some very ardent Penta fans. And no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, this is ultimate stakes, and we've had two very controversial decisions thus far. And I can't tell you for sure what's right.
This matchup's too important for that.
Cerro Miego, Larry.
Villano going for the roll-up that won his brother Blue Panther's mask.
Well, both men are going back and forth. It looked like Pentagon was going to go Penta driver at first. Villano went to go back to the octopus hold. And man, in a drop of a hat, this thing could end from that octopus position into the cover, but the wherewithal of Villano to keep his shoulders up.
Penalty kick right to the head. He's going to break that arm again, Joe. He's going to go.
Absence of malice. That punt kick right to the skull, and followed by the armbar for a third time.
2. Oh, it's over, Joe!
My God! History has been made! And a legacy has come to an end!
Unbelievable.
Larry, we knew it was going to happen. We knew one of these men would have their lives and careers changed forever. But even knowing that going in, seeing that moment transpire now, the gravity, the weight has just hit us, and I'm sure it's just hit these fans and certainly the luchadors in the ring. We have truly seen one man save and preserve his identity, and one man go down fighting valiantly for the family name.
I see the fans in the audience crying.
Yeah. This is such an emotional moment because they realize this changes forever. Members of the Lucha Brothers family, Ray Fenix out there, Taya out there. I mean, if Penta had lost, that would have had a ripple effect on those individuals as well. Not just the income of the family, but his tag team partnership, Death Triangle and AEW. This would have affected every aspect of Penta's career. And with massive blood loss, a ripped mask, a ripped top, against all odds, Pentagon found a way to defeat one of the most celebrated families, last standing member of his generation.
Unbelievable match, and it must be said the performance Villano put on here over 3 Triplemanias throughout this tournament. The look on the fans' faces says it all.
Yeah. That emotional connection we spoke of that connects fan with luchador, second to none. And as Villano 4 hurts, his fans hurt as well. You can see the sheer elation, the celebration in the Pentagon corner, knowing he's protected everything he holds dear. We ended with respect earlier tonight, and it seems we do again here. This was never about malice or a blood feud for Penta. You know, Larry, there's a part of Penta's heart that hangs heavy as well, knowing he has to be the one to end the legacy of the Mask of Villano 4.
I can almost promise you, as a luchador, Pentagon, this is bigger. The Mask of Villano 4 is bigger than any championship he's ever won. Anything he's ever accomplished, any dollar he ever made in his business. This is his brother.
We are witnessing history. A man of honor, a man of his word. Villano 4 does the unthinkable.
As every member of the family taking off loosening a string.
Yeah. Symbolic. The family ties run so deep.
Conan out
Conan,
there.
yeah. The Penta's blood all over him, but
Si son tan amables, ese momento es un momento sumamente importante en la carrera de ambos luchadores. Primero que nada, maestro, el reconocimiento de todo este público para
Villano
usted.
wants the ring.
Nos-
I want to know his trainer, his name, how many years pro.
Queremos, por favor, todo el público quiere conocer su nombre. ¿Cuántos años de profesional? ¿De dónde es usted originario?
Muy buenas noches, Pentagón. Te reconozco esta noche como un gran luchador. Y te reconozco como fuiste mejor que hoy, fuiste mejor que yo, pero esta noche, mi final ya está cerca en la carrera deportiva. Y me gustaría volverme a enfrentar contigo, que sea la última lucha de mi vida. Ya falta poco. Te llevas lo más hermoso de mi vida, aparte de mi familia. Esto, que la persona, Tomás Díaz Mendoza, de 57 años, 42 años de carrera de luchador. Esta máscara, Tomás, el gran Tomás, como me decía mi padre y mi madre, y Tommy, para los que me quieren, le dio vida a esta máscara. No sé si lo hice bien, si lo hice mal, pero lo que sí te puedo decir, que cada noche que me subí al ring, dejé mi vida y mi corazón. Te la llevas y te la entrego como hombre, no con gusto, pero sí con aceptación y reconocimiento. ¡Felicidades por esta noche, Pentagón!
Tomás Díaz Mendoza, 43 years pro.
And tears in the eyes of the family as the storied Mask of Villano 4 has its final appearance in Mexico City for the third leg of Triplemania 30. Ruleta de la Muerte has ended with Pentagon hanging on by a thread. And now, as a trophy, he holds the mask high of Tomás Díaz Mendoza, Villano 4. And even though it's not the outcome that Villano wanted, Larry, he fought his ass off this whole time.
I mean, performance after performance, show after show, as you see the tears in the crowd. He went out there and left it all on the line as he stands up and gets the adoration from the crowd that he deserves. Debuted at the age of 15. 1979 Arena Naucalpan in Mexico State.
And it's been a journey ever since that has taken him to so many achievements, so many successes, so many titles and accolades with his family. And you know that that entire family, both the members here and the members that are here in spirit, are with Villano 4 in his heart and in his mind right now as this moment takes place. Pentagon, it may be a bit bittersweet for him, but Pentagon accomplished what he came here to do. He protects the Pentagon moniker, the Pentagon mask. And as Triplemania comes to a close, Larry, I'm always out of breath at the end of these things because this is so much of emotional investment to see lives change, career paths are altered, and we see fights that you're not going to see anywhere else in the world in front of some of the best fans, and not just Lucha Libre, but any genre of professional wrestling you choose to name.
What a shot right there. Pentagon, bloody, holding up the mask of Villano 4. What a year. What a great three Triplemanias this year. Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, we called history tonight. We called history 3 nights this year.
Yeah,
it's an unbelievable product from AAA.
An honor to sit with you for this entire run of 2022. I was first with you for Rey de Reyes back in the month of February, and on through Monterrey and Tijuana, and tonight here in Mexico City. We have seen mass lost. We've seen hair lost. We've seen titles won and lost. We've seen pride won, lost, regained over this year. And Larry, you know the best is yet to come, because this may be the final Triplemania of 2022, but everything keeps rolling onward and upward for AAA, not just into 2023 and past that, but there's still a lot of time left here in 2022, including December 3rd in Tempe, Arizona.
Absolutely, Tempe, Arizona. I hope to be there with you, Joe. I hope we're both there. AAA makes their U.S. expansion or international expansion.